What's up, podcast listeners? This is another edition of my car vlog podcast, and I am pumped today because this past week, even though it was super stressful and busy, I was still able to work on my book. I'm officially over 50,000 words, and I am nowhere near done putting my thoughts down. And I'm really excited to get this thing together for you guys, because comparing it to my last book, it's almost like, I'd say it's almost on steroids. Like, it's on a whole nother level, and it just goes to show how much I've learned the past 2 years. Because, I would say the first book that I wrote, The Ironclad Body Training System, was almost just the outline for this, and that's how I kind of worked it, but I just expanded upon it. And like, literally the best analogy I can give is like, when you're on Google Maps and you're looking at a small little section of an address, and then you click that like zoom out button, and you click it again and click it again, it just gives you this bigger range of the area and a better understanding of the area. And that's how I feel like this next book is going to be. It's going to take my first whack at writing and publishing and just expand it like by 10 times. It's going to be very in depth, and the program in it is literally probably the best programming I've ever written, and I'm so excited to share it with everyone. So stay tuned. I still don't have a possible date yet to release it, but I still have a lot of stuff that I need to do, and a lot of it is going to be more video form, like more of a video format for the workouts, but I'm excited to share it. So let's get to the show. And I want to do a huge shout out to everyone in Saudi Arabia listening to my show. For I think this past month, you guys have been my number one country listening to my show, so super cool. And the funny thing is like, a lot of people who have been adding me on Facebook, and these are I'm assuming these are the people that are listening to my show and are listening to hit the show notes and add me on Facebook. And it's a lot of physical therapists from Saudi Arabia, so shout out to everyone in Saudi Arabia listening to my show. That is so cool. Okay. So I've been connecting with several newer people who've added me to Facebook and my Instagram, and I've been asking like what topics they would want me to cover. And I realized, and I think this happened like 6 months ago, that I need to go back to the basics and chat about topics that, get brought up constantly. And, I get a lot of new people listening to my show, and, sometimes I forget that, I'm not just talking to the same 10 people since day one. So someone asked me about this whole, like, can I spot reduce on my body? And we're going to go back to the basics of like fat loss and weight loss and things like that. And primarily, a lot of people want to lose belly fat, fat around their arms, and like fat around their legs. And I totally get it. It's frustrating that, you're training, you're trying to eat healthier, and those areas seem to not budge at all when it comes to weight loss. And to fully understand this, you need to realize that you cannot spot reduce. There's no amount of, let's, for example, bicep curls you can do every single day. Just for example, say you did 100 bicep curls 7 days a week, hoping that your biceps are going to grow and get super lean compared to the rest of your body. It's not going to happen. Like, if I put it into those contexts. So say your new workout regimen is just bicep curls because you don't like the fat around your arms and you want it to get super toned and lean, and you're not going to do any other exercise on your body. If spot reduction was real, then you would have these like gigantic, lean, and shredded biceps only, and then the rest of your body is just going to be, soft. It doesn't work that way, unfortunately. So that being said, like, if you are frustrated with a certain part of your body and you're spending extra time on it, it's probably not going to work unless your diet is intact, right? Like, you could have the best training program in the world, and if your nutrition's not in check, nothing's gonna really change. I mean, like, yeah, you're gonna lose some weight, you'll have more energy, you'll be stronger, but all those areas that you're hoping to lose fat specifically is probably not going to happen. Now, let's take this a step further. Usually when it comes to belly fat, tricep fat, inner thigh fat, whatever it is, it can also come down to hormonal issues. And a lot of times when I train people, I don't just look at the exercise portion. I don't just look at the nutrition portion. I also look at hormones in general, right? And number one, I go down to sleep, right? What helps regulate your hormones on a day-to-day basis? Adequate recovery and rest. If you're getting shitty 5 to 6 hours of sleep, you're probably not going to do any justice for the hormones responsible for weight loss and regulating. Like, the thing to remember, our body loves a routine. It loves it. If you're constantly giving it variables on day to day, it's not going to stay in homeostasis where it's super happy and everything's functioning like a well-oiled machine. It's going to be stressed the fuck out. And this is why a lot of shift workers have a very difficult time trying to lose weight and keeping on top of their health. So, unfortunately, people like nurses, police officers, firefighters, where they're, doing 4 days on, 4 days off, they're doing overtime, and a lot of times when your sleep is not intact, your hunger hormones are off the charts and you end up eating more. And again, that's not a bad thing, because you can eat more, but most of the time when those things arise, you end up eating shittier things, because you go, oh, I'm hungry, I'm just going to have a snack. And something easy to snack on are foods that are not necessarily the best for you. And then you end up being hungrier because they're not fulfilling enough, and then you end up eating more of it. And it's like this vicious cycle of shitty sleep, shitty health habits, shitty food habits, and then you're trying to exercise on top of it. It's not really working, and you're like, what the fuck? And it goes down to also stress. Like, now let's take this sleep-deprived person that has way too many variables of stress in their life, and now they also have to deal with the stress of work, stress of life in general, and they're at that moment where they're like, what the hell, why can't I lose weight? It's like, fuck, it all starts with how you deal with your stress. And if you really think about it, like, again, this is just my personal opinion, if you look back to our ancestors, the only kind of stress they would most likely have is a fucking panther running after them and trying to kill them for food. You know what I mean? Like, if we go back to those days, like, that's literally probably the only thing. And if you're within a small community, like, there's not a lot of gossip or shit like that that's also gonna, worry you. You don't have a boss looking over you at every little thing you do in hopes that you're gonna fuck up and then start, getting angry at you, and you don't, have the stress of like, oh shit, am I gonna make enough money this month to pay my rent and like have enough food? Like, we didn't have those stressors before, and I don't think we fully evolved fast enough for how fast our world grew. Because if you really think about the last, 500 years, how quickly our world has developed compared to, generations before, centuries before. Like, our bodies are not living in an environment where it can thrive. And there's only a small percentage of people that have these high health standards. Well, how can I word this? Kind of like the ultimate health. I don't even know where I'm going with this. What is the word I'm looking for? Say it's the 1% of the world where people actually have the best health because their job is probably something to do with health. They're either professional bodybuilder, fitness model, whatever it is, and it's their job to be healthy and to look good. We have so much stress that influences our life, which then correlates to how our bodies are going to adapt to fat loss and weight loss. So, long tangent and long ramblings of me trying to figure out how to put my thoughts into words. Stress is probably the root cause to why you can't lose weight, along with other things, but it is one of the main things. So if we can figure out strategies to de-stress or manage stress a little bit better, and sometimes it's like a big jump where you need to decide if your job that is the main stressor of your life and is causing your health to deteriorate, maybe that's a conversation you need to have with yourself, your spouse, your friends, your family, whatever it is. Think of ways to help with this. Guaranteed, if you can lower your stress, quality of life will go up, weight will start falling off, and you are just going to enjoy life a lot more. So I'm going to end it there. Hopefully that gave you some context. You guys are amazing. Thank you. Add me on Facebook and Instagram, everyone. Hit the show notes. The link is there. Add me. I'm going to say what's up. I'm going to ask you what episodes were the most helpful and what topics you want me to bring up next. I always take requests. Thank you. Until next time.